Naruto Nine-Tailed Sky Fox. Chapter 31. Just as Shiro turned around to look for Zabuza-sama, Zabuza's voice suddenly sounded behind him. Shiro, let that kid go. That's right. It's really Zabuza-sama's voice. Did Zabuza-sama wake up on his own? Haku, who was already very tired at this time, almost cried with joy when he heard Zabuza's voice, so he didn't hear clearly what Zabuza just said. So, when Bai turned around, he discovered that there was actually Zabuza next to him. There was another person standing. He was dressed in white, with a slender figure, blue eyes and short blonde hair, and a faint smile on his handsome face. Yes, this person was Naruto, but Bai didn't. Don't bother to appreciate all this, just because at this time Naruto's hand is still holding a kunai across Zabuza's neck. Zabuza-sama. Shiro shouted anxiously, his voice trembling. But Naruto ignored Shiro's anxious mood and just calmly ordered, go and remove Sasuke's technique. Zabuza's life is in my hands. Yes, please don't hurt Zabuza-sama. After that, Shiro walked to Sasuke's side and immediately released the cold moon frost flower. Sasuke, who finally recovered, stared at Shiro's figure with his Sharingan wide open in horror. After all, just at that moment, makes Sasuke think that he is really dead this time. Therefore, Sasuke, who had regained his life, was obviously still a little unable to react, and he was very surprised why Shiro suddenly let him go. But when he saw Naruto holding a kunai against Zabu's neck, Sasuke nodded clearly, and then looked at Naruto with a strange look. Because Sasuke really couldn't imagine that such an elegant and noble person like Naruto would do such a low-priced thing. Although the person being rescued was himself, Sasuke was still a little speechless and a little discouraged. He was still too weak, and the three Kakashi who have been staying in the tree are also covered in black lines. No wonder Naruto disappeared just now. It turned out that he went to kidnap Zabuza. I really didn't expect Naruto to do such a shameless thing. After all, Naruto's unparalleled elegance was too deceptive. Especially Sakura, it is estimated that Naruto's perfect image was instantly shattered in Sakura's mind. Ahem. Sasuke, what's that look in your eyes? It's not to save you, it's because you're too weak and can't even beat a girl. You asked me to wipe your butt again, and you still look at me like this. How could you be such a little brother? When Naruto saw Sasuke's speechless eyes, although he was a little embarrassed, he immediately turned his finger on Sasuke and felt that it was all Sasuke's fault. Sasuke's black line. Well, I'm really speechless. In fact, Naruto didn't want to do this, but Sasuke really didn't live up to expectations and couldn't hold on for more than 20 minutes. At this time, Naruto's mental power had not recovered much at all, and because he was afraid that Minazuki Shiro had any trump cards left, he had no choice but to secretly kidnap Zabuza. After seeing that Sasuke stopped talking, Naruto turned his head, looked at Zabuza seriously and said, I guess you all have no fighting ability now, so don't make any unnecessary resistance. Let's go, take me to see Kato. What you up to? Zabuza said doubtfully. I wonder if you have made a mistake. You are a prisoner now. Don't ask so many questions, just agree to my request. Naruto's eyes sternly stared into Zabuza's eyes, and he also exerted a layer of mental pressure. After all, Zabuza was very weak now. Sure enough, Zabuza immediately compromised and smiled bitterly, okay, I'll take you. But at this moment, Bai suddenly put down her mask, revealed her beautiful face, and bowed deeply to Naruto, with a hint of prayer in her voice. Let me take you there. Zabuza-sama has been seriously injured. Please let him rest for a while. Please. Of course the smart Shiro knew why Naruto wanted to see Kato, and Shiro didn't want to stop him. Because Shiro had long disliked Kato, and it was all because of Kato that Zabuza-sama would accept such a person. It's a dangerous mission. Although the kind-hearted Shiro can't do it by himself, Shiro will not object if Naruto does it. However, Zabuza-sama is too seriously injured and needs to rest, and she is afraid that Naruto will not agree. She just took off her mask and asked Naruto to be gentle and agree to her request because she was a girl. Well, Kakashi, Zabuza will be left to you until I come back. Naruto agreed to Haku's request very easily and followed Haku away. However, Naruto was not softened by seeing Haku's face, but felt that neither Zabuza nor Haku had any fighting ability at this time. It doesn't matter who goes. Kakashi, it was so easy to agree. Are you sure you're really not obsessed with beauty? At the same time, Sakura, who had always had a low sense of existence, felt a little inferior for the first time after seeing Shiro's face. Because Bai is not only stronger than him, but also more beautiful than him. This is really cruel. But Sakura also secretly decided in her heart that she must work hard so that she can be qualified to stand by Sasuke's side. Poor Sakura, if she had seen Tiantian, I don't know how long she would have to feel inferior. In fact, from Naruto's point of view, although Shiro was pretty, delicate, and had a good figure, he didn't make Naruto's heart flutter. In Naruto's heart, only Tiantian is the most beautiful person he has ever seen. Whether it is appearance or temperament, Tiantian is unparalleled and unique, no one can replace. After a while, Naruto successfully eliminated Cardo and returned in triumph with Bai. Then Shiro and Zabuza were released. After all, the clients were dead, and if they continued to carry out the mission, there would be something wrong with their heads. Moreover, Zabuza is obviously a smart man. He comes here even though he knows he can't defeat him. Isn't that a lack of heart? Therefore, after Naruto and his party spent a day recuperating at Danaza's house, they set off back to Konoha the next day. Since Naruto eliminated Zabuza and Kato in advance during the mission to the Land of Waves, it only took them 2 days to return to Konoha. There were still 2 weeks before the Chunin exams, so Kakashi took on a few more D-level missions for Team 7 to hang out. But in fact, Sasuke is doing it alone. Sakura has been in the medical class and is very busy, and rarely has time to accompany Sasuke on tasks. However, these D-level tasks are just a piece of cake for Sasuke now, so Sasuke didn't complain. Today is the day when all members of the Kakashi class gather together again after such a long time. Because yesterday, Mr. Kakashi informed them that there was a very important thing to announce today, so they must arrive at the 4th training ground in the back mountain of Konoha before 9 o'clock to assemble. At this time, in the 4th training ground, Sasuke-kun, why do you think Kakashi is so serious all of a sudden? Since Sakura has been studying in the medical class, she hasn't seen Sasuke for 5 days. She misses him terribly, but it's only because of the ladies' reserve that she didn't pounce on him immediately. I don't know, but since it is arranged at the 4th training ground, there must be something important, and there may be a battle, Sasuke analyzed calmly in his cool voice. It is said that men who think are very handsome, so Sakura was immediately fascinated by Sasuke's calm and thoughtful look, and became obsessed with him again. Sasuke black line. In fact, he thinks Sakura is quite good. Although she is a girl, she not only has strong chakra control ability, but is now a medical ninja. This is quite useful for a team, but she is too prone to anger. He was a bit infatuated, so it really left Sasuke speechless. At this time, Naruto, who was standing aside, saw Sakura and Sasuke, showing affection, in front of him, and suddenly he missed Tenten a little. A few days ago, Naruto finally had the opportunity to give the shuriken to Tenten in person. Not only did he see Tenten's surprised expression when he received the gift, but he also saw the faint smile on his cold face. This made Naruto suddenly feel that Tiantian was actually a very gentle person, but he was just not good at communicating with others, so he used indifference to disguise himself. Therefore, at that time, Naruto pursued the victory even more shamelessly, and finally got Tiantian to agree to his pursuit. Although it was just a pursuit, it also made Naruto extremely happy, and he felt that everything was so beautiful. Just when Naruto was still immersed in Nakatenten's gentle smile, Kakashi appeared again. He always appeared at the most inappropriate time, which made Naruto want to kill him several times. At the same time, 4 figures appeared not far away, and the one walking in the front had a thick black watermelon head and 2 thick eyebrows like Guangong hanging on his face. It was so disharmonious. It can even be said to be a bit funny. This person is none other than Metkai, Konoha's elite Junin, and behind him are Tenten's group, Neji and Shaoli. Teacher Akai immediately stepped forward, looked at Kakashi seriously, frowned and asked, Kakashi, do you really want to take the 3 of them with you? After all, they have only graduated a month ago, right? That's it. Isn't it a little too dangerous? Akai, they are my subordinates, and I know their strength best. Since I can let them go with confidence, there must be my reason. Therefore, I came here this time to let you get familiar with each other's strength, in case we meet. It's easier to cooperate with any emergencies. Kakashi was holding up the little yellow book and flipping through it with gusto. He ignored Akai's serious expression and still lazily responded to Akai's questions. But Akai was obviously used to Kakashi's he was out of tune, so he just raised his eyebrows and asked Kakashi again. I can understand Sasuke, but Naruto, isn't he the last one? I heard that Sakura has also been assigned to the medical class by you, which means. In your 7th class, it seems that only Sasuke is capable of fighting, right? These words made Naruto standing aside speechless, so I haven't gotten rid of the title of Crane Tail yet. Besides, Teacher Akai, you actually said it in front of me. Is this really okay? Do I seem to be transparent? And when Kakashi heard what Akai said, he finally put down the yellow book, looked directly into Akai's eyes, and said extremely seriously, don't talk too much, you underestimate Naruto, but you are the biggest fault. But Kakashi obviously hadn't finished what he said. Xiao Li, another watermelon-headed man with thick eyebrows who was following Akai, finally couldn't help but stood up and immediately interrupted Kakashi. Teacher Akai, please let me have a showdown with Sasuke Uchiha, the descendant of the Uchiha clan and the number 1 in the ninja school this year. I will definitely prove to you that my hard work can defeat genius. Little Li's eyes were burning with blazing flames, and he looked at Uchiha Sasuke confidently and challenged. But when Little Li found Sakura standing next to Sasuke, 2 red hearts suddenly appeared in his eyes, and he couldn't help but said, such beautiful pink hair, she looks like an angel. Immediately, Xiao Li passed Sasuke at an incredible speed and quickly appeared in front of Sakura. He looked at Sakura infatuatedly and said, you beautiful lady, can you date me? I will protect you to the death. After saying that, Xiao Li blew a kiss to Sakura. Xiao Ying's eyes were dull and her head was covered with black lines. She was so burnt on the outside and tender on the inside by Xiao Li Lei. She immediately refused loudly and categorically. Absolutely not, your eyebrows are too thick. But Xiao Li didn't care about Xiao Ying at all. He refused, but still looked at Sakura with adoring eyes, almost drooling. Although he had seen this scene in cartoons a long time ago, when everything really happened in front of his eyes, Naruto still couldn't help but laugh. Hum. Hem hum, ha ha ha, hum, it's so interesting, what should I do if I can't hold it in anymore? At this time, everyone in the training ground was silent. Only Naruto was left standing in place, smiling. Gulu. Luo Zan only felt that his worldview was subverted at this moment. He asked himself that in his previous life, at his level, he had never seen a battle between god-level heroes, but this was too terrifying. I have only seen such a battle with the legendary Quan elves. Fiora looked at Anya, and was shocked in her heart. That was a strong man with a dominant level on the battlefield. Luo Zan has naturally heard of the Quan elf, the hidden boss of the forest camp, just like the supreme angels in heaven, but he didn't expect Fiora to see it with his own eyes. The last plain war was already tens of thousands of years ago. Did you see what happened before? Choo choo choo. However, the battle was still going on, and Luo Zan had no intention of asking Fiora. In the camp, he saw 2,000 level 6 centaur marauders with their crossbows drawn. They stood in all directions, condescending, and their bows and arrows were even equipped with beasts. The unique blood energy of the tribe was astonishingly powerful. But Anya's reaction was faster than these arrows. She opened her left hand, raised her palm, and the raging flames rose into the sky, and then swallowed up all the arrows. Roar! 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 The orcs don't know fear. If you kill one piece, there will be new ones to replace it. Anya can't help but see the numbing number of jackal hunters pouring out of the ground. They jump up and down, and they are extremely agile. They are the second-level troops in the stronghold, and they are also long-range troops. A rain of daggers is seen behind the centaur predators, blocking all of Anya's escape routes. Although it is constant, it does take time. And this kind of centaur predator shot once, and then the jackal hunter made a second throw, which was indeed a very correct tactic. But unfortunately, they were facing Anya, a god-level hero with a dimensional gap from them. These daggers keep falling into the dragon's breath released by Anya, consuming the energy in her body and using her tactics to fight the sea of people. Drink. Anya slapped the ground with a palm, and the earth shook. The shadow realm spread in all directions, wrapping all enemies under its control. At the same time, the endless dark storm, like ripples in the water, layer after layer, they vibrated in all directions. For a time, countless jackals screamed in pain. Their bodies quickly decayed in this dark storm, and in the end, only shriveled corpses were left. However, the storm still did not stop. So the corpses flew up and kept hitting the surrounding cliffs. When the storm stopped, the corpses of the jackal hunters piled up under the cliffs in all directions. Roar. Anya let out an earth-shattering dragon roar. Perhaps it was the first battle after her awakening that made her extremely excited. After the killing, Anya felt as if her body and mind had been unchained, and she was extremely happy. Keep on, don't stop, just this little bit, how can it be enough to keep me entertained? The dragon spear in her hand was crushed by Anya, and turned into dark energy and returned to her body. Then, she walked forward step by step. Not enough, the blood of the enemy, and the painful wails, that's all, still. Far from satisfying her. Blah blah blah. Anya raised her head and saw that directly above her, the furious banshees had risen into the sky. They had the bodies of human women, but their hands and feet were the wings and claws of birds. There were so many of them, and the speed was extremely astonishing. They were obviously hovering overhead, but in almost the blink of an eye, they were already rushing towards Anya like missiles. It's so noisy. Anya's eyes began to change, and her body expanded rapidly in less than a second. Shut up, Sparrow. The next moment, a nearly 60-meter tall black dragon soared into the sky. She breathed out dragon breath, turned her body, and her wings exuding a dark aura were like two huge fly swatters. Wherever she passed, the furious banshee touched her. Destroy. Every time the dragon's breath passed by, hundreds of furious banshees were swallowed up. However, these flames did not dissipate in the air, but after being pre-cooled, they turned into rolling lava and rained down on the camp like meteors. Suddenly there is a feeling that we are the villains. Seeing Anya rushing into the camp like a big devil and killing her, Luo Zan looked at Fiora in embarrassment. By the way, we are not from the evil camp, right? Should. Originally, Fiora wanted to say, of course, but seeing Anya's figure, this was too cruel. Boom. Look. After just saying a few words, Anya stepped on a venom-flying dragon. The dark green venom splashed all over the ground, poisoning several jackal hunters to death, but Anya was unconscious, completely ignoring this small poison. No matter what she does, it will cause damage to the camp and the troops inside. Even if Anya enters and rolls around, it will probably kill thousands of wolf hunters. That's how scary the crown-ranked troops are. Although the unit is still one, they are too big and can control energy. Once they fight, their output is almost hundreds of times that of low-level troops, and they are extremely cost-effective. Boom, boom. At the other end of the camp mountain, huge monsters were walking towards us. They were huge and strong, about 16 to 17 meters tall. They were waving heavy iron weapons in their hands. The identities of these monsters were almost when everyone sees that one-eyed giant, they will instantly react. The 12th level ace soldier of the stronghold, the one-eyed one. Is it finally here? Anya has never paid attention to those smashing troops. The only ones who can challenge her and fight her are the aces and champion troops in this camp. Boom. Forehead. Boom. However, just when Anya was excited, 30 red energy beams pierced the sky, and all of them fell on Anya, knocking her down hard. Phew, bah, bah. Anya released the black dragon state. She was too big and a living target was not suitable for this battle. Looking at the Cyclops coming over the mountains one after another, Anya was filled with anger. These guys, unexpectedly dare to knock her down from the sky, do you think you are an anti-aircraft gun? Fortunately, the difference in attributes between the two sides is too big to cause any damage to Anaya, otherwise the 30 waves of blazing eyes would have at least knocked out Anaya. 1,000 points of life. Boom. Again. Anya was also angry. Looking at the red energy beam that broke through the air, she raised her hand and condensed the dragon spear. She swayed casually and easily avoided the attack at an astonishing speed. The next moment, the dragon spear broke through the air. Puff. With huge power, multiple times of lethality, and critical hits, a level 12 angry-eyed Cyclops was actually headshot by Anya. Sharp. Seeing this scene, Luo Zan subconsciously shouted, the 12th level unit in seconds is really awesome. Of course, this is also because the gap between the two sides is huge now, and it is not a matter of arms. If the opponent is led by a hero with an offense and defense of more than 10 and possesses defensive skills, then Anya cannot defeat the opponent in seconds. Sasuke looked at the kick in front of him, immediately opened his Sharingan, tilted his head back, and retreated at an incredible arc speed. And Xiao Li obviously knew that this move could not hit Sasuke, and then he saw him put his backhand on the ground, flicked hard, and quickly flew into the air and disappeared again. Dance of the Larch. At this moment, Xiao Li instantly appeared behind Sasuke at the speed of an afterimage. His left hand hooked, avoiding Sasuke's resistance, and successfully hit Sasuke's shoulder. You guy. Sasuke felt that his shoulders were abnormally numb, and finally decided not to hide his strength. At this time, Sasuke used his Sharingan to lock Xiao Li's figure tightly, his whole body tensed, and he bent his body and immediately attached chakra to his legs, leaving only the ground. With a shock, Sasuke has disappeared in place. Obviously, Sasuke is faster than Xiao Li just now. You know, Sasuke's control of chakra is very precise now, and he condenses chakra into the muscles of his legs, can instantly double the strength and speed of your legs. Since Xiao Li didn't have the Sharingan, he could hardly see Sasuke's figure clearly, so he jumped away immediately, but in the end he was still a little slow. At this time, Sasuke had already flown in front of him, and with a straight punch, Xiao Li was sent flying 7 or 8 meters away, raising huge dust along the way, which shows how powerful this punch is. Ahem, hiss. Xiao Li struggled to get up, pressing one hand on the wound he had just kicked by Sasuke, looking at Sasuke in the distance unwillingly, and secretly thought, how could he actually surpass him in speed? Who I am now. If I hadn't moved a little to the right at the critical moment, I might not be able to stand up now. Is this the strength of a genius? Xiao Li showed a faint bitter smile. At this time, Sasuke also looked at Xiao Li with a slightly surprised look. I didn't expect that he could avoid the blow just now. It seems that his reaction was not bad. Unfortunately, his opponent is me. Just when Xiao Li was about to attack again, Teacher Akai's rough voice reached Xiao Li's ears. Xiao Li, I now allow you to use that. Really? Teacher Akai. Didn't you say that this trick can only be used when protecting important people? It doesn't matter, Xiao Li, I allow you to use it now. Let them see your true strength and burst out your passionate youth. Teacher Akai seemed to have two blazing flames igniting in his eyes at this moment, and he shouted loudly to Xiao Li with blood boiling. Yes, Teacher Akai. After that, Xiao Li quickly took off the weight on his leg and threw it to the side. It landed right next to Naruto and Tiantian. It was obvious that Xiao Li, who was too excited, had forgotten that there were other people around. Boom! A huge explosion resounded throughout the training ground. The power was even more powerful than 4 detonating charms, making everyone in Kakashi tremble in the tree. Then everyone looked at the huge smoke and dust. They were all a little worried about Naruto and Tiantian. However, they were obviously overly worried. After the smoke, Naruto and Tiantian were still there, while a white light curtain appeared around them. There wasn't even a trace of dust on Tiantian's clothes. Naruto twitched his eyes, looked at Xiao Li with a very bad look, and said, "It's so rude, I almost soiled Tiantian's clothes." Sakura opened her mouth wide when she saw this scene, but she was not surprised by the defensive power of Naruto's white light screen, but she was surprised that the weight could actually create such a big hole, which was obviously not something that ordinary weight could do. Teacher Kai's training methods are too. Even Kakashi covered his face and said speechlessly, "You have gone too far, Kai." During the battle, Xiao Li obviously wasn't distracted by Naruto and the others. After taking off the weights, he just felt comfortable and full of energy. Well, Xiao Li's blood was burning at this moment, and his figure flashed, leaving only a faint afterimage in place. The speed is more than twice as fast. Then his pupils suddenly shrank, and through the Sharingan, Sasuke could clearly see that Xiao Li was already close in front of him. It was too fast. Although I could see the movement clearly, my body couldn't keep up with my eyes. This speed was simply faster than Kakashi. What to do? Correct. Kakashi. Sasuke looked at the kick in front of him and knew that he couldn't avoid it, but there was still time to form a seal. Boom. Immediately, Sasuke's body was kicked out by Xiao Li, but there was obviously something wrong with the sound. Kicked. However, before Xiao Li had time to rejoice, he discovered that Sasuke, who had been kicked away, instantly turned into a wooden stake in the air. It was the substitution technique that Kakashi often used. Yes, at that moment, Sasuke remembered the last time during the battle with Kakashi. Kakashi was constantly using the substitute technique to avoid his pursuit. Therefore, Sasuke suddenly thought of a way to deal with it. After all, the substitute technique only required one seal. Hateful. Where are people? Just when Xiao Li was anxiously looking for Sasuke, he heard a strong sound of wind suddenly coming from behind him. It was obvious that Sasuke was behind him at this time. However, because Xiao Li had just taken off the weight, his body's reaction speed was also extremely fast. Yes, he kicked hard on the ground with his feet, narrowly avoiding Sasuke's extremely powerful kick. Phew, it's really so strong. It seems that we can only use that move to decide the outcome. I'm sorry, Teacher Akai. Xiao Li stared at Sasuke's cold black figure solemnly at this time, as if he had made some important decision. 8 gates Dunjia, Health Gate. Open. Yes, because Xiao Li had already opened the first 2 doors during the previous battle, so at this time Xiao Li directly opened the 3rd door of life. You know, the 3rd gate can be regarded as a watershed in the 8 gate Dunjia. When this gate is opened, not only the speed will be doubled, but also the body can automatically absorb free chakra from the outside world to replenish its own chakra and physical strength, increasing the speed of wound healing. That is to say, now Xiao Li seems to be reborn. Then his figure flashed. In one breath, he disappeared. However, Xiao Li did not rush to attack Sasuke, but ran violently around Sasuke, raising huge smoke and dust and trapping Sasuke in the middle. Because Xiao Li knew that Sasuke's speed was not inferior to him, and he also had the Sharingan that could see through everything. If he rushed forward and used Ura Renka's high-speed combo, he would probably be dodged by Sasuke, so Xiao Li wanted to create some chaos first. Disturb Sasuke's sight. Sasuke-kun, please take this last move from me, Ura Renka. However, this Sasuke, who was trapped in the middle, was still very calm, constantly concentrating his Sharingan to calculate Xiao Li's trajectory. The next second, Sasuke suddenly reached into his backpack, quickly pulled out 5 shurikens and fired them in all directions of the smoke. Boom, 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 boom. 5 crisp sounds came, and it was obvious that the one who was stabbed was not Xiao Li. What was hit was wooden stakes from all directions. Despite this, Sasuke's lips raised a smile of victory. It's over. Sasuke said calmly. Sharingan Windmill 3 Great Swords. Immediately, I saw that every shuriken flying out was wrapped with silver threads that were invisible to the naked eye, and each thread was covered with a faint blue chakra. Sasuke was skillfully using his fingers at this time. Manipulating these complicated threads, the huge smoke and dust around them slowly dissipated. When the smoke and dust stopped, everyone saw that Xiao Li's body was tied like a rice dumpling, and Xiao Li was still being tied up. Twisting left and right, trying to break free of these threads, but obviously, this has no effect. You must know that these threads are specially made from the secret techniques of the Uchiha clan. How can they be broken away so easily? How could it be? At the same time, Teacher Akai, who had been sitting on the tree watching the battle, was even more shocked. He never expected such a result. After all, Li Lianhua's move was a secret technique that he personally taught to Xiao Li, and he knew exactly how powerful it was. This move was equivalent to a forbidden technique. It was so easily cracked by Sasuke. No wonder Akai couldn't accept it. Immediately, Sasuke slowly walked to Xiao Li, looked at Xiao Li condescendingly and said, "You lose." Although Xiao Li was unwilling to accept it, he had to admit that Sasuke was indeed better than him. Sorry, Teacher Akai, I disappoint you. Xiao Li's eyes were filled with despair. At this time, Teacher Akai had walked to Xiao Li's side at some point, hugged Xiao Li, and comforted him with tears streaming down his face. It's okay, Xiao Li. Losing and winning is youth. Teacher Kai. Xiaoli immediately burst into tears and hugged teacher Kai, and the background painting of both of them seemed to turn into a red sunset. Looking at the two people hugging each other and crying bitterly, everyone around them was covered in black lines, and goosebumps fell all over the floor. Fortunately, I didn't lose to this guy, otherwise I would have been very embarrassed, Sasuke thought with great joy in his heart. At this time, Ningji also had a big, hic, sign on his forehead. He obviously felt that the two masters and disciples were very embarrassed, so he immediately stepped forward and interrupted. Okay, Teacher Akai, stop playing tricks. What's next? It's just a discussion between me and Naruto. After Neji finished what he just said, he found that Teacher Akai was still immersed in the sadness with Xiaoli and completely ignored his words. This made Neji very speechless and sighed deeply. Then Neji ignored Teacher Akai, walked straight to Naruto, and said expressionlessly, I, Hinata Neji, the chief student of the previous term, officially challenge you. Uzumaki Naruto, get up. Naruto raised his eyebrows, looked at Neji who was as paralyzed as Sasuke, smiled and asked, are you sure you want to fight me? Yes, didn't Mr. Kakashi of your class just say that we should be familiar with each other's strength? Sasuke and Xiaoli have obviously finished competing, and now it's our turn. Neji still looked at Naruto with a paralyzed face and said calmly. Naruto stood up gracefully, looked at Neji and smiled and said, ah, okay then, let's fulfill your wish. The tone of his words was like giving charity. In fact, Naruto also wanted to show off in front of Tiantian, so that Tiantian could see how powerful he is. Perhaps the charm of a strong man can touch Tiantian's heart more. But Naruto's words this made Neji very unhappy. But Neji didn't know how to deal with it, so he could only look at Naruto with a frown, as if he wanted to kill him with his eyes. At this time, Tenten, who had been silent, finally raised his head and looked at Neji seriously. Said, Ningji, remember to go all out and don't hide your strength, Naruto may be stronger than me. Tiantian thought that as Nechi's teammate, it would be better to remind him. However, Tiantian didn't know how much her words shocked Nechi and Teacher Akai. After all, they all knew about Tiantian's strength, which had already surpassed he as an elite Chunin, and it is not an exaggeration to call him a Junin. His special abilities are endless, and even Akai is unable to guard against them. At this time, such a powerful Tenten actually said that Naruto may be stronger than her, so Neji still has a chance to win. Hope. Despite hearing such horrifying information, Neji still believed in his own strength. Although he was not Tenten's opponent, Neji believed that it was because Tenten's abilities were too weird and unprecedented, which just happened to restrain his eyes. Not only that, after working hard for such a long time, Neji feels that he has improved a lot now, and he will definitely have the strength to compete with Naruto. After a while, only Naruto and Neji were left standing in the center of the training ground. Akai, Kakashi and the others retreated to a nearby tree. Even Tenten left the place and stayed in the tree with Kakashi and the others. Watch the battle. But Kakashi actually put the little yellow book into his pocket, lifted up his forehead protector, and revealed the scarlet Sharingan. I can finally see Naruto's battle, I'm really looking forward to it. Kakashi, didn't you say Naruto is very strong? As a result, you haven't seen him take action yet, so how did you draw the conclusion? Akai's eyes widened and he looked at Kakashi in disbelief, as if he had just told some big joke. The cold Kakashi didn't want to pay attention to the amusing Akai, and still stared at Naruto's figure with his scarlet Sharingan, as if he wanted to see through Naruto. At this time, in the training ground, the breeze is gentle and the water is calm. Naruto stood leisurely opposite Neji, with a relaxed smile, and said, you take action first, I'm afraid that after I take action, you will have no chance. However, the proud Neji completely ignored Naruto's arrogance. Still expressionless, don't talk too much. If you lose later, it won't look good. Apparently Neji was repeating what Sasuke said just now. Naruto. Is this guy modeled after Sasuke? Whoosh. While Naruto was speechless, Neji disappeared directly in front of Naruto's eyes. Although Naruto did not have Sasuke's Sharingan, he had spiritual awareness, and it was very easy to sense Neji's position. But Naruto didn't do this, and still stayed calmly in place, with an elegant smile on his lips, and even his posture was perfect. In the next second, Neji appeared in front of Naruto and looked at him calmly. Person. You have now entered my attack area. I will let you know later what a huge mistake it is to fight the Hyuga clan in close combat. After saying that, Nechi immediately made a mysterious gesture and pointed his right hand directly at Naruto. Gossip field. Open. What? I saw that Neji, who had always been calm and composed, suddenly opened his eyes wide with a look of horror. Because, just at the moment when Neji opened his eyes, he discovered that Naruto, like Tenten, had no chakra flow at all, but there was another very mysterious aura all over his body. However, Neji's surprise was only for a moment. After all, such a tense battle did not allow him to be distracted. Then he ducked and disappeared in front of Naruto again. Bagua 128 palms. Neji had no intention of fighting with Naruto, and directly used his strongest trick at the moment. Because through the observation just now, and Tiantian's deliberate reminder, Neji already knew how powerful Naruto was. So he didn't dare to neglect at all, hoping to catch Naruto off guard. Neji stepped on mysterious steps and immediately appeared in front of Naruto at an incredible speed. His palms became like hooks and fists. In a moment, he formed a palm and quickly attacked every acupuncture point on Naruto's body. For a moment, everyone could only see the disappearing shadow of Ningji surrounding Naruto, but Naruto seemed to have done nothing. Defense. Through Byakugan's observation, Neji could not see the flow of chakra in Naruto's body, but the meridians and acupuncture points could still be seen clearly. Neji believed that as long as these acupuncture points were sealed, Naruto would never be able to move again. Got it. Bagua 4 palms. 8 chapters. 16 palms. 64 palms. 128 palms. I saw that Neji's hand speed and pace were getting faster and faster. In almost 2 breaths, he had finished all 128 palms. However, when he came down, he found that Naruto was still in the same cloudy and calm manner. His expression was light, he didn't move at all, and even his clothes were still spotless. How could this be possible? How could Naruto be fine at all? Teacher Akai, who was standing on the tree at this time, couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw this incredible scene. Xiao Li, who knew Ningji's strength well, was also horrified. Only Tiantian's expression remained calm, as if he had foreseen it a long time ago. Generally. Huh. Huh. How possible? Neji panted and looked at Naruto. You know, he just hit 128 palms in an instant, which was a bit too much. But when he saw that Naruto didn't even move, Neji didn't come back to his senses for a long time. His eyes were dull, and his level of shock was no less than that of Mr. Kai and the others. After all, only Neji himself knew that not one of his attacks had failed. Finished. Although it has enough speed, it lacks power, but it is still quite comfortable. At this time, Naruto finally spoke, but the elegant voice sounded like the ringtone of hell to Neji. In fact, what Naruto just said was indeed the truth, and it was really not powerful enough. Although the Hyuga clan's soft fists are very famously, using the Byakugan method together with acupuncture points and integrating chakra into the palm of the hand can indeed cause great power to ordinary ninjas and even paralyze their movements, but that must only hit the acupoints. As we all know, as long as the acupuncture points are not hit, the Hyuga family's soft fist is not very powerful, at most it is just a little more powerful than ordinary taijutsu. Although Neji is indeed very fast, unfortunately, his opponent is Naruto. In the world of cultivation, every cultivator will have more or less body-protecting chi accumulated over time in his body. As a super beast like the nine-tailed sky fox, Naruto's body-protecting chi is endless. A steady stream. Therefore, Neji's seemingly extremely powerful soft fist did not hit Naruto's body, but was all blocked by Naruto's protective energy. That's why Naruto just said that Neji's soft fist has more than enough speed but not enough power. After a while. Okay, I've let you fight enough, now it's time for me to take action. At this time, Naruto saw that Neji seemed to have adjusted his condition, and then said slowly, his voice was still so elegant and charming. When Neji heard this, he immediately tensed up his body, his left hand went up, and his right hand went down, he made a mysterious gesture again. Domain, guard Bagua. I saw him in a defensive posture in an instant, with ferocious white eyes staring at Naruto's body. It was obvious that Neji was very nervous at this time. Then Naruto put his hands together and put on a posture that Neji had never seen before. Gestures seen. Secret technique, Jalan Dreamland. As soon as the words fell, everyone saw that Naruto's sky blue eyes instantly turned into blood red, and continued to glow with golden light. As soon as the words fell, Neji suddenly fell to the ground without warning, and remained there for a long time. Never got up again. At the same time, everyone staying in the tree opened their mouths wide and looked at Naruto in horror. No one understood why Neji suddenly fell down. Even Kakashi and Sasuke, who had their Sharingan open all the time, didn't notice how Naruto did it. However, everyone saw Naruto's blood-red eyes at this time. However, it was not like the Sharingan and Rinnegan. Was it Naruto's unique blood inheritance limit? Immediately, when everyone came to Ningji's side, they discovered that Ningki had simply fallen asleep. At this time, everyone was looking into Naruto's eyes. No one spoke, only Kakashi whispered softly. Was it just an illusion? You know, Hyuga Neji, as the possessor of the Byakugan, has a very strong resistance to illusions. After all, the Byakugan is one of the 3 legendary pupil techniques. But now Naruto actually let Neji fall under the illusion so easily, and there is no sign of waking up until now. This talent for illusion can be described as terrifying. But this was not what Kakashi was concerned about, because at this time he was staring closely into Naruto's eyes and asked in a deep voice, Naruto, what were those red pupils of yours just now? Is it the blood successor limit? Or is it? Kakashi was very worried that those were the eyes of the 9-tailed demon fox. After all, the colors were too similar. They were both a demonic blood red, but they seemed to be slightly different. However, Naruto ignored Kakashi's worries and remained so elegant and leisurely. No, Kakashi-sensei, that's just a special ability of mine. I can't explain it for a while, so you can just understand it as blood successor. Naruto shrugged and replied seemingly casually. Okay, now the competition is finally over. As a medical ninja, Sakura doesn't need to compete. As for Tiantian's strength, I also know very well. After so much effort, you haven't told us what is important. What are you going to announce? Seeing that Kakashi wanted to ask more questions, Naruto quickly changed the topic. Kakashi was speechless. I haven't finished asking yet. At this time, Teacher Akai finally stood up, frowned his thick eyebrows, looked at everyone extremely seriously, and said in a deep voice, that's it, Kakashi and I jointly accepted an A-level mission. Tomorrow. The next day, in the early morning, the pale golden sunlight shone on the door of Konoha, and it was obviously another sunny and beautiful weather. At this time, everyone in Kakashi's class and Akai's class had gathered, and no one was late. After all, this was an A-level mission and there was no room for trivial matters. In addition, there was a new face present, who was the person they were protecting during this mission, Mr. Masahito Agawa. Agawa Masahito is the chief diplomat of the Fire Nation and often travels to other countries for exchanges and learning. Not long ago, when I was on a mission to the Kingdom of Thunder, I accidentally discovered an important smuggling secret of the Kingdom of Thunder, and it was also noticed by the senior official involved in the smuggling of the Kingdom of Thunder. Therefore, Agawa Masahito was hunted all the way. After many twists and turns and sacrificing all his guards, he finally escaped to the Leaf Village closest to the Kingdom of Thunder. According to reliable information, the high-ranking official of the Kingdom of Thunder has hired a large number of senior ninjas from the Cloud Ninja Village to assassinate him, so there must be many dangers along the way. The ultimate goal of their mission is to protect the important minister of the Fire Country, Agawa Masahito, from arriving safely at the Daming Mansion of the Fire Country. Faced with such an important task, the third Hokage naturally handed it over to the more trustworthy Kakashi and Akai. After all, the strength of Kakashi and Akai can be said to be among the best in Konoha. After taking into account Sasuke's overall strength and Naruto's weird abilities, Kakashi decided to take them on this mission together, just to take the opportunity to accumulate some experience and enrich his experience. Teacher Akai obviously has the same idea, thinking that his students have been undergoing rigorous training for a year, and Tiantian's weird strength is comparable to that of a Junin, so he should be qualified for such a task. What's more, with the protection of him and Kakashi, there will definitely be no problem. After all, Akai is very confident in his own strength. Therefore, there was the exchange match yesterday so that they could become familiar with each other's strengths. If they were attacked by an enemy, they could quickly coordinate and respond without being in a hurry. 2 hours later, Naruto and his party did not take the official road, but appeared on a secret path leading to the Daming Mansion of the Land of Fire. Although this road was not easy to walk, it even required a longer detour. However, in order to avoid possible ambush on the official road, they still chose the small road for safety reasons. In the team at this time, Kakashi and Neji were at the forefront. Neji used his Byakugan to detect the road conditions in front of him. Kakashi was always on guard, followed closely by Sasuke and Xiaoli. Since Sakura is a medical ninja, she is walking in the middle of the road with Mr. Akai to protect Mr. Masahito Agawa. Therefore, the ones walking at the back of the team were naturally Naruto and Tenten. Because of the strange defense ability displayed by Naruto through yesterday's competition, Kakashi and the others were very relieved to leave the back row to Naruto, but Kakashi and the others really overestimated Naruto. You know, Naruto has just reached the second-level peak of 9 transformations of Sky Fox. Although the realm is equivalent to the peak of foundation building and seems to be one level higher than Tiantian, as mentioned before, the nine-tailed Sky Fox clan is very weak in the early stage. Naruto's energy shield can only defend against attacks from around B-level ninjutsu, but the actual defensive ability may not be as good as Tiantian's Ice Heart technique. Moreover, Naruto's white light curtain looks extremely gorgeous, but in fact it requires a steady stream of true energy to support it in order to maintain it. But Naruto didn't want to explain so much. Anyway, the most powerful thing about the nine-tailed Sky Fox clan is their spiritual power, so the range of his spiritual consciousness is very wide. As long as he is prepared before the enemy approaches, it's no big deal. Immediately, the group of them walked for nearly half an hour, but still did not find any danger. Tiantian, is this your first time out of the village? Naruto held Tenten's hand and walked leisurely at the back of the team, as if this was not a mission but an outing. No, I have performed many similar tasks with Teacher Akai before, but they were all C-level. Tiantian replied calmly with her cold voice. Naruto looked at Tiantian, who still looked calm and clear. He really wanted to see other expressions on that cold face, so he couldn't help but praise. Tiantian, you are so beautiful today, I can't help it anymore. Because at this time, Tiantian changed from the usual gorgeous and wide-sleeved outfit and changed into a white refined short suit. Although it was less enchanting and charming, it was still refreshing and generous. Seeing this, Naruto felt itchy in his heart. Tenten paused slightly and ignored Naruto's compliments. She still pretended to be calm and walked slowly, but her sometimes messy steps betrayed her heart and did not escape Naruto's eyes. Naruto raised the corner of his mouth slightly, looked into Tiantian's eyes tenderly, and said in an extremely charming voice, Tiantian, you said we have been dating for almost a week, what do you think of me? Seeing that Naruto actually asked such a direct question, Tiantian's face finally showed a hint of redness, but he still said calmly, stop making trouble, be serious, we are still on a mission now. Oh, does Tiantian mean that you can ask as long as you are not on a mission? Naruto ignored Tiantian's indifference, and still had a gentle smile on his lips. Tiantian's black line, this guy is getting more and more aggressive. I didn't know I shouldn't have responded to him just now. At this time, everyone walking in front obviously heard Naruto's voice, and they couldn't help complaining in their hearts. That's right, I'm still on a mission now. Can you be serious? This is not a place for you to fall in love. Just when Kakashi was about to speak out to ask Naruto to calm down, he suddenly found that Naruto's brows were frowning. He changed his usual elegant and indifferent expression, and his expression was extremely serious. Everyone was on alert. There was an unknown target ahead on the left, about 500 meters away. Neji looked at it with his white eyes. Actually, Neji had been observing the movements ahead with his Byakugan open, but he only explored a distance of about 200 meters, so he did not find any enemy ambush. At this time, he actually heard Naruto's serious voice and couldn't help but secretly I thought, is Naruto also a perceptive ninja? But now is not the time to think about these things, after all, the mission is important. Roll your eyes. Neji shouted and once again increased the detection distance of Byakugan, but no abnormality was found. Naruto made a mistake. However, the next second, Naruto's serious voice came again. Neji, there's no need to probe. I sense that the enemy is already near us, probably underground. What? Neji quickly lowered his head, and sure enough he found a huge marmot 50 meters underground. Judging from its figure, it was definitely a psychic beast that was not an ordinary ninja. Not good. Everyone, run away. Ningji yelled and immediately jumped to a nearby tree. Others were obviously on guard and disappeared in an instant. Poof. Just as Neji finished speaking, the ground suddenly shook, and a huge groundhog broke out of the ground, its two huge paws still spinning rapidly. Judging from its sharpness, if they had been a step later, they would have been crushed to pieces by now. Immediately, Neji discovered that 5 ninjas from other countries were sitting in the center of the prairie dog's belly. There was even a female ninja among them, and looking at the situation, it was obvious that that female ninja was their leader. Kakashi, who had retreated to the tree at this time, finally saw their forehead protectors clearly, frowned tightly, and said in a deep voice, "The situation is not good. They are from the Cloud Ninja village, and they are still among the top 5. Forbearance, we are in trouble now." Hey, it turns out to be Kakashi. Long time no see, I didn't expect to meet you here, oh. And who is that watermelon rind at the back? You Junin of Konoha. But with so many children, are you playing house? The female ninja who had landed at this time had obviously recognized Kakashi's identity. After all, Kakashi's reputation was still well known in the ninja world. Naruto saw her long, smooth rice-brown hair, tied up casually. Her braided tail reached to her waist, and she exuded a queen-like aura. Her appearance was decent, but her whole body was filled with an aura that he found very disgusting, like a cold aura that belonged to the underworld. The 9 Lama's voice suddenly sounded in the human body. Boss, that woman is the second-tailed Nekomata. 2 tails. Really? Since Naruto had only watched about 150 episodes of cartoons in his previous life, he didn't know who the second tail was. He could only sense that the female ninja was really strong, so strong that even Naruto felt that she might not be her opponent. Yes, boss, the chakra between his tailed beasts is sensitive. If I hadn't deliberately restrained my chakra, she would have discovered me. Kyuubi said in a deep voice. Really? It seems like there is a bit of trouble. 1 Jinchuriki plus 4 Jonin. Kumo ninja is really generous. What secret did that minister discover that made the Land of Thunder invite so many people to hunt him down? It's really curious. Now that he is so nervous, Naruto still has his mind to think about all these things. It's enough. Kyuubi complained silently. But after a moment, Naruto ended his random thoughts and immediately sent a message to Kakashi-sensei. The voice was extremely serious. Teacher Kakashi, that female ninja is the 2-tailed Jinchuriki of the Cloud Ninja village. I am afraid that I am no match for her now, and I can only leave it to you and Teacher Akai. Kakashi obviously didn't understand why Naruto's voice suddenly sounded in his mind, so he was stunned for a moment, but he heard Naruto's words clearly. Therefore, Kakashi immediately locked his eyes tightly. The female ninja thought in shock. 2-tailed Jinchuriki. Could it be 2 Yumu people? At the same time, the giant groundhog that had been carrying 5 Kumo ninjas, bang. The sound turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared. The leading female ninja looked at Kakashi and his group coldly, and said in a deep voice, "It's such a pity, Kakashi, it seems that you are really unlucky today, and you will all die at the hands of my 2 Yuki people," in her hands. The expression was extremely arrogant, as if Kakashi and the others were already dead in her eyes. However, just as the 2 Yukido finished their words, a Junin who was only about 17 or 18 years old and who was the furthest behind him was staring at Tiantian. That girl is pretty good, The arrogant tone obviously still had something to say, but the voice stopped suddenly. Even the 2 Yumu people looked back very curiously. After all, as her subordinates and ninjas from the same village, she knew her very well. With his lustful and public character, he shuts up only in mid-sentence, which is absolutely against common sense. This person's name is Yi Yez, and he is the grandson of the second elder of the Yaoi clan, the largest family in the Cloud Ninja. He has been extremely talented since he was a child. Not only did he inherit the Yayoi clan's powerful thunder escape, but he also became the Jonin has always been pampered and lawless. Not only that, he is also the nephew of the current Raikage. Therefore, due to his status, it was difficult for Yumu to criticize him, although she also disliked Ieya's lustful character. Then the moment the two Yumu people turned around, the scene that immediately came into view made her completely unbelievable. I saw Ieya's head slowly slipping from his neck silently. Quote exclamation mark. Plop. Rolled to the ground. Quote exclamation mark. Plop. Rolled to the ground. Silence. Deadly silence. Everyone held their breath and looked at Ieya's head on the ground in horror. Almost no one could see the last second clearly what happened, even the two Yuki people didn't find out who did it. Speaking of which, the two Yuki people had a very high status in Yun Ninja Village. As a woman, even if she was raped. Even though she is hated by others, she still persists in her training and eventually grows up to be able to transform into a tailed beast according to her own will. She is a hard worker who has gained confidence. Now, she is not only as strong as an elite Junin, but also a two-tailed cat. After her transformation, her Jinchuriki's strength was close to that of the cage level, even stronger than the average cage level. But now, someone could kill her subordinates silently, right under her nose. And she hasn't found out when, and she doesn't even know who did it, so you can imagine the shock in her heart. After a while, a magnetic but extremely cold voice broke the silence. Remember next time. My people are not just for teasing. I saw Naruto standing beside Tiantian with his hands folded, his blood-red eyes looking coldly at Ieya's head. It was obvious that he had not given Ieya another chance at all. Kakashi and the others had never after hearing Naruto's cold voice. You must know that Naruto was an extremely elegant and gentle person in the past, and he almost never shouted loudly. It can be seen that Naruto is really angry now. The person's silent killing method and the still elegant white figure, like a combination of angel and devil, were so shocking. Therefore, everyone silently decided in their hearts that no one could offend Naruto in the future. And every day. At this time, only Tenten, who had been standing next to Naruto, noticed Naruto's movements at that moment. But in her opinion, the Cloud Ninja was just too weak. Naruto just threw out the golden shuriken in an instant before the Cloud Ninja finished speaking, and slashed it across Yozuki-Z's neck at a very fast speed. However, it is worth mentioning that Naruto had just carved an invisibility spell on that golden piece. In addition, Naruto was really fast. Therefore, everyone could only see Ieya's head silently separated from his body. And Tiantian didn't expect that the name could not even get past such a simple hidden weapon. Although the invisibility spell was applied, the sound of wind and energy were still there, so it shouldn't be difficult to detect it. She really deserves to die, not to mention that he dared to stare at her with such lustful eyes just now. Even if Naruto didn't take action, she would kill Ieya herself. At this time, Tenten secretly touched another golden shuriken that Naruto gave her a few days ago, and her eyes when looking at Naruto became much gentler. After all, Naruto's domineering anger just struck her beauty, it's hard for someone not to be moved. In fact, there is another very important point that Tiantian doesn't know. Naruto didn't just draw an invisibility spell just now. You know, there are 5 Jonins on the opposite side, even elite Jonins, and 2 Yukito who are almost penumbra. It was very easy for them to dodge the shuriken, a child's hidden weapon. Although Naruto cast an invisibility spell on the shuriken, with the ability and experience of the Junin, it was still possible to detect the danger in advance. Just like last time Zabuza was able to avoid it in time. So while throwing the shuriken, in order to shock everyone and achieve the effect of killing with one hit, Naruto forcibly consumed all his mental power and used the 9-tailed sky fox in gold against the 5 Kumo ninjas at the same time. The ultimate secret technique, breaking the boundary of nothingness, can only be used in the Dan stage. This secret technique is a range of control technique that can forcibly isolate the mental perception of everyone within a certain range, which is the so-called short-term mental paralysis. However, the more people this technique controls, the shorter the time, and Naruto still uses it at higher levels, so it can only be controlled for a short 0.5 seconds. But luckily, the Kumo ninja and his group were very close to Naruto and stood relatively close to each other. Therefore, Naruto was able to throw his carefully modified golden shuriken in this short 0.5 seconds, perfectly achieving a one-hit kill that almost no one noticed. This is why when the two Yumu people turned around, they discovered that Iyez was already dead. On their side, since Kakashi and Sasuke did not activate their Sharingan, they did not see clearly what Naruto had just done. Gulu, except for the two Yukitos, the remaining three Kumo ninjas all looked at Naruto's still calm white figure in horror, and almost swallowed their saliva at the same time, fearing that they would be the next to die. After all, their strength in Iyez is almost the same. Everyone is on alert. We can no longer take it lightly. The two Yuki shouted loudly and extremely seriously. Then, she stared at Naruto's figure coldly, and quickly created a black-blue chakra barrier in front of everyone to prevent Naruto's another sneak attack. Yellow-haired boy, I admit that you are very strong, but I think you can't always use that trick just now, right? The two Yuki people locked Naruto's blood-red eyes tightly and said in a deep voice. She originally thought that the strongest enemy was just Kakashi, but she didn't expect that a hairy head who even she couldn't see through was killed halfway. Boy. Besides, looking at Naruto's spotless kimono and his extremely handsome face, it's completely unimaginable that he is actually a master. Tiantian, hurry up, help me. At this moment, Naruto's slightly weak voice suddenly sounded in Tiantian's mind. Tiantian, hurry up, help me. At this time, Naruto's extremely weak voice suddenly sounded in Tiantian's mind, and the content of the words shocked her. Fortunately, Tiantian's reaction was also extremely quick, and she immediately pretended to hold Naruto's hand naturally like a couple, and continued to send true energy to Naruto, but Naruto decisively stopped Tiantian's behavior, because he was consuming mental energy, so he did not need the replenishment of true energy. Naruto was very sorry that he didn't have a suitable weapon in his hand at this time. If he had just had a flying sword, it would definitely not be a problem to kill three people at once. You must know that the move just now exhausted almost all his mental strength. Now he is relying entirely on his tenacious willpower to support himself. After all, now is not the time to fall. Immediately, Naruto reluctantly raised the corners of his mouth, tried to put on the most elegant expression, looked at the two Yuki people, and said softly, "Ha, there are only 4 of you now, and there are 8 of us. Do you still want to continue the mission?" Although Naruto's move just now shocked the two Yuki people, she was also very confident in her own strength and so arrogant, how could she give in so easily? In addition, there are 5 other brats, and she doesn't believe that they are all as strong as this yellow-haired boy. Huh, I was just careless just now. Looking at your pale face at this time, you must be feeling uncomfortable. No need to pretend anymore. But having said that, the two Yumu people did not relax their vigilance. They still stared closely at Naruto's blood-red eyes, and their voices were extremely cold. After a while, the two Yumu people discovered that Naruto's the red pupils gradually dissipated and slowly returned to the pure sky blue. Therefore, the experienced woman immediately realized that Naruto was definitely in a period of weakness and immediately ordered back. Come on, you three. Quick victory. Yes. After observing the changes in Naruto's eyes, the two Yuki people immediately decided not to delay, but to deal with them before Naruto recovered. After all, Naruto's weird ability is a big trouble. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Therefore, just as she finished speaking, the other 3 Kumo ninja behind her immediately disappeared. Kakashi looked at the 3 people who disappeared in an instant, his pupils tightened, and he immediately pulled on the eye mask, revealing the scarlet Sharingan, and shouted in an extremely anxious voice, "Sasuke, Neji, Xiao Li, you all go and protect them. Mr. Masahito Ogawa, hurry. Akai and I will deal with the 2 Yuki people together." Yes. Akai didn't understand why it took one person to deal with the 2 Yumu people, but Kakashi was the captain of this mission after all, and Akai also admitted that Kaka was indeed much better at strategy and planning. Therefore, despite some doubts, Akai still followed Kakashi's instructions and stayed to deal with the 2 Yumu people with him. As an elite Junin who has long been famous in the ninja world, Kakashi certainly knows some secrets that others do not know. For example, these 2 Yukijin. In the ninja world, few people know that the 2 Jinchuriki of Kumo Ninja Village are the best at getting along with the tailed beasts, and they are also the most integrated. They can almost completely use the tailed beast's 100% ability. And due to the possession of the tailed beast, the Jinchuriki's vitality is also extremely tenacious. With the current Kakashi and Kai, it is basically impossible to kill her. However, although they can't kill her, they can still hold her back. After all, Kakashi and Kai are not elite Jonins for nothing. At the same time, Sakura and Mr. Masahito Ogawa are hiding in a remote tree hole. You know, as smart as she is, she quietly led Mr. Ogawa Masahito to find a safe place to hide when she first encountered the enemy attack. Sudden. Whoosh. A black shuriken cut through the wind and struck at Ogawa Masahito at great speed. Fortunately, Sakura's reaction was fast enough, and she immediately took out a kunai to block this sharp blow. How could it be, was it discovered so quickly? At this time, Sakura looked around with a vigilant face, and the muscles in her whole body were tense. It was obvious how nervous she was at the moment. Two extremely fast Mingan ninjas appeared next to Sakura and Ogawa Masahito in an instant, each holding a sharp kunai and stabbing her and Ogawa Masahito in different blind spots at the same time. Sakura, as a medical ninja, and she had only been studying for about 3 weeks, but she was completely unable to block the fatal blows of the two Kumo ninjas. However, in order to protect the mission target, Sakura still rushed towards Ogawa Masahito, obviously trying to block him with her body. Sakura looked at the Kumo ninja who was almost in front of her eyes, lowered her head in despair and closed her eyes. Back to the days. At this critical moment, a white chakra vortex blocked in front of them. It was the very famous 360-degree defense technique of the Hyuga clan. Fortunately, Neji arrived in time at the critical moment and successfully used Keishin. Only by flicking away the two Kumo ninjas could we save the lives of Ogawa Masahito and others. Sakura, are you okay? Let's escort Mr. Masahito Ogawa out of here first. Neji stood in front of Sakura and shouted eagerly. At this moment, Tiantian's cold voice suddenly came. Neji, step aside. Yes. Out of trust and understanding of Tenten, Neji quickly jumped away from Sakura's side. The secret method of Ice Heart, the ice-condensing magic world. Tiantian pulled Naruto and quickly rushed to Sakura and the others, slamming his hands on the ground. Immediately, two semicircular ice walls rose from the ground, quickly wrapping Sakura and Mr. Masahito Ogawa in the middle. There was a faint light flowing around the ice wall, which was extremely gorgeous. Obviously no one would doubt its defensive capabilities. After doing all this, Tiantian turned around, looked at the three young ninjas coldly, and said calmly, "Now, we can fight with peace of mind. Now, we can fight with peace of mind." After saying that, Tiantian's body turned into a huge ice cone, carrying unparalleled cold air, spinning at high speed and flying towards one of the cloud ninjas. Wherever it passed, a layer of light slowly condensed, of ice crystals. You can see how low the temperature is. Neji and Xiao Li looked at each other with unusually solemn expressions. After all, they have been teammates for a year, so they all know very well that with their current strength, they are completely incapable of fighting one-on-one with Jonin. Only by joining forces can they have a slight hope of victory. Therefore, they had a tacit understanding and rushed towards one of the Kumo ninjas at the same time, leaving only a faint afterimage in place. Only Naruto still stood there, his brows furrowed, his expression completely lacking the elegance and indifference he had just now. Because he is very aware of his physical condition at this time. It can be said that he has no fighting ability at all now, and even his eyes are a bit shaky when he looks at people. Otherwise, he would not need daily support just now. Therefore, Naruto stared closely at the remaining Cloud Ninja and said in a deep voice, "Sasuke, that Cloud Ninja can be said to be the weakest among the three of them. With your current level, you should be able to handle it. I have just been too exhausted, so I have to recover for a while. I hope you won't let me down." After that, Naruto ignored Sasuke and sat cross-legged on the spot, and his whole body quickly lit up with 3 layers of thick white. The light curtain is obviously stronger in defense than all previous light curtains. Fortunately, Naruto's true energy is still very abundant at this time. There is no problem in maintaining these 3 white light curtains, and one of the light curtains not only has a defensive effect, but also isolates all sounds, so Naruto he's not worried about anyone disturbing him. Yes. Don't worry, leave it to me. Sasuke looked at the faint figure behind Naruto's light screen and said extremely firmly. Then the figure flashed and he immediately started fighting with the remaining Cloud Ninja. Let's look at Tiantian's side first. When Tiantian turned his body into an ice cone and attacked Kumo Ninja at a high speed, the opponent did not dodge at all, but smiled scornfully. He did not think that Tenten would be a genin very strong, so he completed the seal directly on the spot. Fire Escape Dragon Fire Technique. In an instant, the Cloud Ninja's mouth continued to spurt powerful flames, and quickly turned into a long fire dragon and hit Tiantian's ice cone. However, the ice cone formed by Tiantian's body cannot be extinguished by ordinary fire. The moment the fire dragons in the sky hit Tiantian, they immediately dissipated in the air, leaving only faint sparks falling slowly. And the huge ice cone formed by Tiantian was still flying towards the young ninja with an unrivaled momentum. I didn't expect a genin to be able to use such a powerful move. How careless. The Cloud Ninja looked at the ice cone that was getting closer and closer. He no longer dared to take it lightly. Then with a stern look in his eyes, he immediately used the substitute technique to escape. However, he was not just escaping. Just as he had just used the substitute technique. While using the substitute technique, he also left 3 powerful detonating charms on his body. He believed that Tiantian was completely unaware of it. Boom. Sure enough, the moment the ice cone formed by Tiantian hit Yun Ninja, there was a huge explosion, and the thick smoke that filled the sky instantly swallowed Tiantian's figure. Indeed, Tiantian did not expect the existence of the detonating talisman at all. However, as a cultivator, Tenten also has the same energy as Naruto and Ichigo, and each detonating talisman is only about the power of AC level ninjutsu. 3 stacked together do not reach B level, which may be enough for ordinary people. It was fatally injured, but it had little effect on Tiantian. But Tiantian's body protecting energy is not like Naruto's, which is endless and endless, but will continue to decay with the attacks it receives. Therefore, the power generated by the 3 detonating talismans has exhausted Tiantian's body protection test questions, leaving very little left. Finished. The Cloud Ninja stared closely at the huge smoke and murmured with some uncertainty. After all, the strength Tenten showed just now was completely unlike what ordinary genin could achieve, so he did not let down his guard. Just as he finished speaking, Tiantian's figure suddenly and silently appeared above him, holding a black long sword in his hand, and swung it hard at him. Then an icy blue sword energy struck him as quickly as lightning. The speed was completely beyond his expectation. Just see the next second. Yun Ren's body was instantly split into 2 halves by the sword energy. Before he even had time to scream, he slowly fell to the ground. But what surprises Tiantian is why there is no blood. However, the next scene made Tiantian completely understand. Because the fallen corpse slowly melted and decomposed, until it became a pool of loess. Obviously, this is just an Earth clone. After all, Tiantian's opponent is a Jonin. If he didn't even have this means, he wouldn't be alive until now. Fire escape, luxurious flames. In an instant, the voice of the Cloud Ninja suddenly came. All of this happened between lightning and flint. At this time, Tiantian's body was in the air, and he fell down quickly. However, the next second, 3 drops of lightning fell from Tiantian's sky. A huge black meteorite with a diameter of more than 10 meters. Each meteorite was covered with blazing fire and was spinning towards her at high speed. The heat generated by it almost burned out all the surrounding trees. The visual effect was extremely gorgeous. Needless to say, it's powerful. It's a completely A-level fire escape ninjutsu, which is not something that ordinary people can use. You are dead. At this time, the young ninja looked at Tiantian's figure in the air before he could land, and said very firmly. After all, in his understanding, it is difficult for ordinary people to borrow strength in the air, not to mention that Tiantian is only a minor child, but he is destined to be disappointed, because Tiantian is not an ordinary person, but a cultivator who completely breaks the rules and goes against the will of heaven. Then, Tiantian's figure tilted slightly, without any support at all, and he was directly there. Flying across the air at extremely fast speeds. Tiantian was out of the attack range of the 3 fire meteorites within a moment. Rumble, rumble. 3 moments later, a huge fire meteorite hit the ground, almost causing a force equivalent to a magnitude 3 earthquake. What? How can it be? When the Cloud Ninja saw this scene, he immediately opened his mouth wide and couldn't believe his eyes at all. Just when he was stunned, Tiantian's cold voice immediately came. Bingshin Sword Technique, Chaotic Character Technique. In an instant, 3 or 5 strands of ice sword energy immediately appeared in front of him. Each sword energy was almost 2 meters long. With the powerful energy, it was attacking him at a very fast speed. The power should not be underestimated. But that Yun Shinobu's reaction was also extremely fast. He quickly put away his surprised expression, his fingers flew, and in just 1 second, he completed the seal. To escape, Tulu returns. Immediately, I saw that the Cloud Ninja's right foot stepped hard on the ground, and a thick earth yellow rock immediately rose up, perfectly blocking all the ice sword energy in front. But, as he cast the earth just as the escape was over, Tiantian's voice sounded again without any warning. Bingshin Sword Technique, sword energy is everywhere. As soon as he finished speaking, dozens of icy blue ice sword energy spread all around the Cloud Ninja instantly. The strong wind blowing made it almost impossible to open your eyes. At the same time, the Cloud Ninja Justian Shi, who had just returned from Tulu, had no idea that Tiantian's next move would be so fast. He had no time to prepare, and he didn't even have time to use a substitute technique. Sure enough, dozens of ice sword energy immediately shattered the Yun Ninja's body into several pieces. But the scene that happened next made Tiantian open his eyes in disbelief. Dozens of sword energy and ice sword energy immediately broke the body of the Cloud Ninja into several pieces. But the scene that happened next made Tiantian open his eyes in disbelief. I saw that the Yun Ninja's body, which had been cut into several pieces, melted like glue. After fusion quickly, the human body was restored in just 2 seconds, and it was intact, without any trace of injury. All of this makes Tiantian unbelievable. Speaking of this ninja, he is considered a genius in the Cloud Ninja village. His name is Satoshi Kitano. Kitano Satoshi is only 21 years old now, but he became a Jonin at the age of 19. Not only that, 2 years after he became a Junin, he developed a unique ability by virtue of his precise mastery and understanding of chakra, combined with his own 3 attributes of water, fire and earth. Blood successor is eliminated. Fusion. You must know that blood inheritance elimination, also known as blood inheritance expansion, is a very unique existence. The biggest difference between blood inheritance limit and blood inheritance elimination is that the blood inheritance limit passively selects the change of nature, and then blood inheritance and the elimination of the blood inheritance is to actively eliminate the property changes and then inherit the blood inheritance. Not only that, the blood inheritance limit is the combination of any 2 innate chakra property changes, and the blood inheritance changes. Elimination is a combination of 3 changes in chakra properties. Owners of this chakra attribute are extremely rare. Currently, there is only one known blood successor in the ninja world. That is the 3rd generation Tsuchikage's blood successor. It is the Chen escape, created by merging the 3 attributes of fire, earth and wind. And the original realm peeling technique derived from the dust escape is even more frightening. So there is no doubt about the power of the blood successor elimination. Therefore, it can be said that the blood successor elimination is higher than the blood successor limit to a certain extent. And Kitano Kai is still the first developer to be eliminated by Shueiji. However, the fusion release developed by Kitano Kai, as the name suggests, means melting. As we just saw, its ability is almost immune to any physical attack, no matter how severe it is. Even if the injury occurs, the cells can be reorganized immediately and remain intact. But, Kitano Satoshi has only developed the ability to melt his body and has not expanded into other areas. After all, he is only 21 years old now. No matter how talented a person is, it takes time. Therefore, Kitano Satoshi is still just an elite Junin of Yun Ninja Village. However, despite this, he is also very powerful. The ability of fusion escape makes Kitano Satoshi's body almost immortal. All physical attacks are ineffective against him, and he is also very resistant to ordinary ninjutsu, which gives him a great advantage in fighting against others. At this time, Tiantian looked at Kitano Satoshi, who had been successfully resurrected, frowned, and tightly held the long sword in his hand. After a while, he put away his surprised expression and rushed forward again, like a hurricane, with only the white afterimage of Tiantian visible along the way. Bing Shin sword technique, broken. In an instant, Tiantian's ice sword energy was divided into 2, and then divided into 4, until it turned into 8 long sword energy, with a range of 5 meters, like a huge fan of swords, with a strong wind direction. Kitano Satoshi's body attacked. However, Kitano Satoshi had already adjusted his condition, and he was not at all flustered by such a powerful move. He then bent his left foot and quickly jumped away from Tiantian Janchi's attack range, and his hands jumped in the air without stopping, his fingers flew, and he completed 2 powerful ninjutsu in an instant. Earth Escape, Yellow Mud Swamp. Ninja techniques are like rain and dew on 1,000 books. The next second, I saw that the color of the large area of the land Tiantian was in became darker and the texture was extremely soft. In just a few breaths, the originally solid mud became as muddy as a swamp. A large swamp turned into a swamp in an instant. Covering an area of 50 meters in diameter, it would be difficult for ordinary people to get out of the trap. And countless thousands of them appeared in the sky, shooting towards Tiantian like a heavy rain. However, Tiantian's reaction was also extremely fast. He immediately put away his sword move, raised his steps slightly, and in the swamp where it was impossible to borrow any force, he actually flew into the air and flew out of the swamp in an instant. However, Chinban was also very fast in the sky, and his attack was extremely fast. The range was actually much larger than that of the swamp, and each one was extremely sharp and shimmering with cold light. As a result, even if Tiantian escaped the attack range of the swamp in time, Chinban was still stabbed in 3 places. Hiss. Several blood stains were printed on Tiantian's arms and thighs respectively, and soon her white bunt uniform was dyed red. Seeing the blood flowing out of her, Tiantian's expression at this time could freeze into ice. She looked at Kitano-ji's eyes are like those of a dead person. In fact, it's no wonder that Tiantian is so angry. You know, the blood of cultivators is very precious. Every drop is the essence accumulated over time. Losing even 1 drop makes Tiantian very distressed, not to mention this. It's not just a drop of time. So Kitano Satoshi has completely touched Tiantian's reverse scale. Tiantian stood up slowly, and first used the cleaning technique on his clothes to restore himself to a fresh state. Then, he slammed his hands on the ground. In an instant, the huge swamp just 50 meters away instantly froze. Even the surrounding temperature has dropped a lot. And the next second, Tiantian disappeared from Kitano Satoshi's sight again. Bing Shin sword technique frost flower dance. Tiantian's cold voice slowly came from the air, but when the voice arrived, no one saw it, but in an instant. Countless ice blue sword energy overwhelming the sky instantly covered everything with a radius of nearly 50 meters around Kitano Satoshi. Facing the situation, with such a large-scale powerful killing move, Kitano Satoshi knew that even if he used the substitute technique immediately, he would have nowhere to hide. After all, the substitute technique has a certain range of use, so Kitano Satoshi would still have to face it when the substitute was nearby. Without any surprise, he was chopped into pieces. But, right now, the pieces of minced meat once again formed a glue-like shape and quickly fused together as before. It's only 5 seconds. Tomohiro Kitano is resurrected again. Hey, you can't kill me. Any physical attack is ineffective against me. Ha 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 ha. Kitano Satoshi stood up without any injuries, looked at Tiantian and smiled arrogantly. Tiantian's brows were furrowed at this time. He stood there and looked at Kitano Satoshi coldly, as if he was thinking about something. After a moment, the black sword in Tiantian's hand gradually disappeared. Haha, are you scared? You even put away your weapons. Kitano Kai said with a smile. You talk too much. Don't you know that the more you talk, the faster you will die? Tiantian ignored Kitano Satoshi's ridicule and said calmly. Fire escapes, the great fire is extinguished. Kitano Satoshi was obviously furious. He quickly completed the response with both hands and spit out a large sea of terrifying fire in the direction of Tiantian. The range was nearly 50 meters and the power was amazing. However, Tiantian did not avoid Kitano Satoshi's ninjutsu when he saw it. Because this is just a pure flame. You know, because of the practice of Ice Heart Ju, Tiantian is not afraid of flames. Therefore, in Kitano Satoshi's eyes, what he sees is that Tiantian is completely unscathed when surrounded by raging fire. Hurt, still staring coldly into his eyes. This scene made Kitano Kai extremely frightened. Just when he was about to release other ninjutsu again, Tiantian suddenly moved. The white bunt suit automatically moved without wind, and under the light of a large sea of fire below, it looked like a god. Then Tiantian's cold voice came again. Bing Shin Ju. Tiantian taps his toes lightly on the ground, standing in the air, his white shorts clothes automatically moving without wind, under the light of a large sea of fire below. Below, it looks like a god. Immediately, Tiantian's cold voice came again. Bing Shin Ju. Frost comes to earth. As soon as I finished speaking, I felt that the surrounding temperature was dropping rapidly, and even the water vapor in the air turned into ice crystals in an instant. A large number of hexagonal snowflakes were flying in the entire sky. Each snowflake was crystal clear, but there was a sharp light. In an instant, the area 100 meters around Kitano was covered in snowflakes, as if it had turned into a pure white world. Kitano's figure was so small when he saw the snowflakes all over the sky. Ji obviously also knew that this move was completely impossible to dodge. After all, the range was too large. Earth escape, Earth formation wall. As soon as I finished speaking, I saw two huge slopes rising from the ground, and in just one breath, Kitano Satoshi's body was wrapped in them. Helpless, this was the best way Kitano Satoshi came up with in a hurry. However, after a while, the mound formed by the Earth formation wall instantly turned into a small iceberg. The surrounding area was constantly exuding icy cold air, and layers of white mist filled the air. It was extremely gorgeous. Yes, this was what had just been grown every day. The reason why she put away the sword was because she found that Kitano Satoshi could recover no matter how many pieces she cut him into, so she thought it would be better to just freeze him. He could still survive being frozen for 5 minutes. After all, Tiantian is practicing the ice heart art, which is definitely not an ordinary ice and snow freeze. It is many times stronger than the ice shield of the Shui Wuyu clan. In less than 5 minutes, Tiantian's consciousness sensed that Kitano Satoshi was lifeless in the iceberg. Although Kitano Satoshi relies on the Earth formation wall to achieve almost absolute defense, and he has been transporting chakra to increase defense, the temperature is not so easy to isolate. After all, he still needs to breathe, and he cannot cover the entire space. Seal it. Therefore, Kitano Satoshi is destined to die. Thump. Not long after Kitano Satoshi died, Tiantian's body suddenly fell limply to the ground, holding her chest, breathing heavily. It was obvious that her current condition was not very good. You know, Tiantian had already used after performing a frozen flower flurry. The huge range of sword energy in the sky was not only beautiful to look at, but also consumed almost half of her true energy. In addition, she had just used the wider range of frost-falling mortal dust, which was completely incomparable. It drained all the true energy from her body. Now she has no strength at all. Tiantian still stood for 5 minutes just now. After all, Tiantian didn't dare to fall down rashly before the enemy was completely dead. But fortunately, Tiantian's last move, Shuangjian Chenchen, finally succeeded in killing the enemy, otherwise the result would be really hard to say. After a while, Tiantian's body had obviously reached its limit. It seemed that he had no strength to breathe anymore. He could only fall to the ground exhausted, slowly closed his eyes, and fell into a deep sleep. There are still light snowflakes floating in the sky, slowly falling on Tiantian's white body. As if integrated with the heaven and earth, the beauty is extremely ethereal and unreal. Although Tiantian's side barely won the battle, Xiaoli and Neji's side. The battle situation between Neji and Xiaoli is not very good at this time, and they can easily make things easier by being in danger. The Jonin who fought against Neji Li was once a member of the Anbu of the Cloud Ninja Village, named Kura no Taku. Not only was this person extremely fast in movement, but his ninjutsu ability was also not bad at all. The most important is, he also has a cool head and excellent analytical skills. As early as several rounds of fighting with Neji and Xiao Li, Kurano Taku figured out all their attack modes. He discovered that both of them were masters of close combat, but they had no long-range abilities, and they had never used ninjutsu. Therefore, the Junin is worthy of being a Junin. In this short period of time, he has seen through the fatal flaws of Neji and Xiao Li. You know, as a member of the Hyuga family, all of Nechi's moves are developed around the Byakugan, which is indeed a weak point in ninjutsu and genjutsu. Not to mention Xiao Li, he doesn't know any ninjutsu or illusions at all. Therefore, after Kurashitaku understood this, he distanced himself from Neji and Xiao Li and engaged in guerrilla warfare. After all, he knows a lot of long-range ninjutsu, especially the various wind escape ninjutsu that he is very good at. Although it can't cause any fatal damage, it has a huge range and has to be guarded against. Not only can he restrain their physical skills, but he can also sneak attack on them from time to time. Therefore, at this time, Ningqi and Xiao Li could be said to be losing ground, almost being suppressed and unable to fight back. Although relying on Neji Kaiden's absolute defense, the two of them did not suffer any fatal injuries. However, Neji has used Kaishin 3 times so far. The physical exhaustion is serious, and he probably won't be able to last long. Xiao Li had already taken off his weight, but he still couldn't keep up with Kurashitaku's speed. Moreover, whenever Kurashitaku stopped releasing ninjutsu, Xiao Li had to quickly dodge, which led to Xiao Li's physical exhaustion. Not less than Neji at all. Continuing like this is not an option, Teacher Akai, now we can only use that trick. Xiao Li was panting at this time, looking at Kurashitaku's flashing figure, as if he had made some huge determination. 8 gates Dunjia. The 4th door, hurt door. Open. Yes, because Xiao Li had already opened the first 3 doors in the previous battle, but Kurano Taku's speed was still beyond his reach. As a result, Xiao Li, who had opened the 3rd door, couldn't even defeat Urarenka. Hit him. In fact, Xiao Li was able to open the 4th door as early as the previous battle with Sasuke, but after all, it was just a competition, not a desperate effort, and the sequelae of opening the 4th door were also very scary. So Xiao Li didn't do that at that time. However, if the current situation was not too critical, Xiao Li would never open the 4th door. Take it. Lotus. I saw Xiao Li appear directly behind Kurashitaku with a swish sound, and punched Kurashitaku away at a speed invisible to the naked eye. How can it be? He actually caught up with me at speed. How can it be? He actually caught up with me at speed, But even so, you still can't defeat me. Although he was slightly surprised, Kurashitaku's voice was still very confident. Immediately, Kurashitaku, who was knocked away, relaxed his body in the air, allowing the power of Xiao Li's punch to retreat inertia, and raised his feet in the air with a strong push. A faint thunder light was produced, and even the air resounded with a slight explosion. With this tiny explosion, Kurano Taku applied force again and retreated quickly with inertia and double force. Kurashitaku's speed was so fast that it was difficult for the naked eye to catch him. Xiao Li, who had opened the 4th door, was unable to catch up with him. Urarenhua's next attack failed to catch up with him, and Kurashitaku succeeded in fighting Xiao Li again, distanced. I didn't expect him to be able to use his strength a second time in the air, and his combo failed again. Is this the strength of a Jonin? Although he was a little frustrated, Xiao Li did not give up and still flew towards Kurashitaku at high speed. Looking at Xiao Li who was so fast, Kurashitaku's face finally darkened, and he said coldly, HMPH. Do you think you are the only one with the ability to accelerate instantly? You are so naive, what will you see soon? That's the real speed. Body ninjutsu, lightning escape to protect the body. As soon as he finished speaking, the muscles in Kurashitaku's body suddenly swelled and were covered with a layer of crackling blue electric light, like thousands of wild horses galloping with great momentum. Body ninjutsu. Thunder whirlwind. Boom. The next second, Xiao Li's body seemed to hit a huge spring and flew out instantly. Puff. So strong. Is there really no hope? Xiao Li held his chest and looked at Kurashitaku, who was covered in lightning. For the first time, he felt so small. He remembered that the speed he had always been proud of had no effect. He really failed to live up to Teacher Akai's expectations. Actually, this does not mean that Xiao Li is too weak, but that his opponent has the right advantage to restrain Xiao Li. You know, Kurano Taku is a member of Raikage's lineage, and has the inheritance of Raikage's thunder release. As we all know, Raikage's thunder armor is not only powerful in strength, but also has a speed beyond the limits of the naked eye. In addition, Kurano Taku's own wind attribute is also used as a bonus. Therefore, it is not surprising that Kurano Taku is faster than Xiao Li. After all, Kurano Taku is a member of the Anbu of Kumo Ninja Village. He has been a Jonin for a long time and has extremely rich combat experience. And Xiao Li is just a genin who has just graduated a year ago. It's amazing that he can fight against him for so long. Xiao Li, how are you? Are you okay? At this time, Neji's anxious voice came. There was no way. The two of them had moved too fast just now. Everything happened between lightning and flint. When Neji rushed over, Xiao Li was already vomiting blood. Fell to the ground. It's okay, Neji, you have to be careful, his speed is faster than before. Xiao Li fell to the ground and looked at Kang Jituo's figure. His tone was extremely solemn and he said intermittently. It was obvious that the force of the blow just now made him feel very uncomfortable. You take a rest first, I'll resist for a while. Ningqi's eyes flashed, he stood in front of Xiao Li and said in a deep voice. Bagua, empty palm. Ningqi did not form any seals, but directly moved his hands toward each other. A transparent energy flew out of Ningqi's hands and struck at Karazidaku's figure at high speed. The Bagua air palm is the only long-range move of the Hyuga family. It uses soft fists. In short, by introducing chakra into your hand and firing it out instantly, you can generate strong energy, and it also has a weak acupuncture function. Although this technique seems to be fast, Kurano Takumi easily evaded this attack. Empty palm. Bagua, 64 palms. Ningqi took advantage of Kurashidaku's dodge, and immediately flew forward, expanded the Bagua field, and instantly used the Bagua palm technique. 2 palms. 4 palms, puff. Just the next second. Neji's body flew out directly, and the Baguazong technique was broken with only 4 palms. This made Neji extremely horrified and couldn't believe it at all, as if he was dreaming. Actually, there was nothing surprising about this. You must know that at this time, Kurano Taku's whole body is covered with thunder armor, and his defense power is also extremely amazing. Neji's current level is not enough to break his defense, not to mention that Neji has just consumed a huge amount and there is not much left. Chakra. Huh. So strong, my soft fist doesn't work at all, what should I do? At this time, Neji also felt a little desperate. After all, he had always had smooth sailing, and this was the first time he encountered such a powerful enemy. He couldn't help but feel a little discouraged. Neji. I will fight with you. The 5th door, Duman. Open. Seeing that his companion was injured, Xiao Li could no longer bear it. Regardless of the load on his body, he desperately opened the 5th door. Duman. Whoosh. Then Xiao Li's figure flashed and rushed towards Karazidaku again. Although Xiao Li's explosive power and speed after instantly opening the 5th gate were very fast, Kang Zidao's state at this time was not much better than that of the 8th-gate Dunjia. In addition, there was a huge disparity in strength between Xiao Li and Kang Zidao. Therefore, Xiao Li's attacks did not have much effect, and they were still blocked one by Karazi Taku. Snort. I didn't expect you to be able to keep up with my speed. But I guess you won't be able to last long in this state. Karazidaku looked at Xiao Li very confidently and said in a deep voice. Then Karazidaku decided to take a preemptive strike and once again strengthened the strength of the thunder armor, and saw lightning flashing around it. His body was like a blue electric light shooting directly at Xiao Li. At this time, Xiao Li, who had opened the 5th gate, was red all over, surrounded by a large amount of chakra, and his momentum was extremely amazing. He directly received Karazidaku's lightning-like blow with both fists, without even trying to dodge. What it means. Because only Xiao Li knows that he cannot maintain his current state for long, and his muscles are starting to break slightly. Every time he raises his hand, it is a huge load, so he can only choose to fight with Kurajidao. Otherwise, when his body can no longer bear it and the side effects begin, there will really be no hope at all. Is this really Xiao Li? So strong. Neji fell to the ground, looked at Xiao Li's figure in shock, and murmured. But Kurazitaku's whole body was covered with thunder armor, so that every time Xiao Li attacked and resisted, his own fist would be paralyzed. Therefore, in less than a minute, Xiao Li was completely at a disadvantage. After a while, Xiao Li was kicked out by Kurazitaku again, and the side effects of 8-gate Dunjia have already begun. In other words, Xiao Li at this time is almost equivalent to a useless person and can no longer move. What should I do? I didn't expect Xiao Li to be so powerful. Neji watched Xiao Li fall to the ground. Although he was very worried, there was still nothing he could do. It seems that you all have no fighting ability. Don't worry, I will send you on your way right away. Kurano Taku slowly stopped in front of them, leisurely admiring Neji's slightly desperate expression. His tone was so annoying. Immediately, Kurano Taku pulled out 2 shurikens very simply and shot them towards the faces of Neji and Li at high speed. At this time, Xiao Li and Neji were almost exhausted. They could not avoid this seemingly simple blow and could only close their eyes in despair. However, at this moment when thousands of troops are about to attack. Ding! Ding! 2 metallic sounds suddenly sounded. At this moment when thousands of troops are about to attack. Ding! Ding! 2 metallic sounds sounded. 2 black kunai flew out of nowhere and instantly knocked away these 2 deadly shurikens, successfully saving the lives of Neji and Xiao Li. Are you two okay? Go find a place to rest quickly, I'll resist for a while. I heard Sasuke's slightly tired voice coming from behind Xiao Li and the others. When Neji opened his eyes, he found that Sasuke was already standing in front of him and Xiao Li, holding a kunai in his hand. Although he was slightly taller, he looked tired, but it was nothing serious. Seeing this scene, Neji almost cried with joy, because Sasuke could come to save them at this time, which only meant that he had solved another Kumo ninja. I knew I was wrong. Not far away, I saw a black figure running towards me at high speed. It was obviously the Kumo ninja who had just fought with Sasuke. Sasuke, thank you very much. When Neji saw another person, he immediately thought that Sasuke came over regardless to save them. This made Neji very touched. After all, they had only known each other for a short time, and he did not expect Sasuke to be such a loyal person. In fact, Sasuke was in trouble at this time and couldn't express it, and the truth was not at all what Neji thought. But his current strength is indeed slightly insufficient. After fighting with that cloud ninja for a long time, there is still nothing he can do against him. Fortunately, Sasuke relies on the advantage of Sharingan to always detect the opponent's attack trajectory in advance. Therefore, Sasuke was not injured except for being slightly tired. Not only that, because Sasuke keeps his Sharingan open, he can sense everything that happens around him. Therefore, when Tiantian defeated the Kumo ninja, Sasuke was quite shocked. After all, it was difficult not to notice the extremely gorgeous large-scale freezing. This also reminded him of Minazuki Haku's blood stains, but Sasuke felt that Tenten's ability should be more powerful. Immediately, Sasuke also distractedly explored the situation of Xiao Li and Neji. When Xiao Li opened the 4th door, Sasuke was even more surprised. At that speed, even he could not match it. If Xiao Li opened the 4th door yesterday, if so, he must be no match. Therefore, after seeing how powerful Xiao Li was, Sasuke was slightly relieved, thinking that the enemy would definitely lose. However, he did not expect that the Cloud Ninja used some secret technique, and his speed immediately surpassed Xiao Li. Even the Sharingan can't catch it. And as Xiao Li opened the 5th door, he still couldn't save the battle. This made Sasuke very worried, so he decisively gave up on his opponent and rushed over to rescue him. Anyway, he had nothing to do with the enemy in front of him, so there was no need to fight again. Spend it. Therefore, this is the scene we just took. But what Sasuke didn't expect was that Neji and Lee were so injured that they now had to fight him one-on-two. At the same time, another Kumo ninja also came to Kurazitaku's side, stared coldly into Sasuke's eyes, and said arrogantly, "Huh, Uchiha brat, finally stopped running away. Let's see what you plan to do now, in the future 1 against 2. No kidding, haha." The tone of his voice was not very good. After all, he was a Junin, and he couldn't even deal with a teenage child. This made him very embarrassed, so he mocked Sasuke like this. Humph, but if you obediently give me your eyes, maybe we can leave you with a whole body, ha ha ha. After hearing this, Kurashitaku on the side immediately brightened up, and then became very upset. You know, in the battle just now, he actually ignored Neji's eyes. Fortunately, he didn't have time to kill Neji, otherwise it would be a shame. Yes, thanks to your reminder, I didn't expect that our luck would be so good this time. The Byakugan and Sharingan gathered at the same time. If we caught him alive, it would be a great achievement, ha ha ha. At this time, Kurashitaku looked at the three people who were like turtles in an urn and laughed loudly. Indeed, the Cloud Ninja village Shao has longed for the two heirs of Konoha village for a long time. Just like in the past few years, after the three wars, the Cloud Ninja and Konoha have signed a peace treaty, and secretly sent people to sneak into the Hyuga clan late at night, preparing to abduct the legitimate daughter of the Hyuga clan. After being found out, they actually beat him up, saying that Konoha's ninjas killed their ninjas, and threatened Konoha to hand over the Byakugan in the name of war. Fortunately, Neji's father Hyuga Hazashi deceived the Kumo ninja with his own body, so that the secret of Byakugan would not flow into other countries. Therefore, this matter has always made the narrow-minded Yun Ninja village brood. Therefore, so many elite combat forces were dispatched in this mission to hunt down Agawa Masahito. I just want to use this to challenge Konoha's authority, kill Konoha's spirit, and let everyone in Konoha village know that their Cloud Ninja village is not someone to be trifled with. When Sasuke heard that the two of them had been talking about how to deal with his and Neji's eyes, he clenched his fists, gritted his silver teeth, and his chest heaved violently, obviously very angry. However, the calm Sasuke did not act rashly. After all, in a one-on-one situation, Sasuke could not beat one Junin, let alone two now, unless a miracle happened. But in the next second, a miracle really happened. At this time, the battle had been going on for a long time, so long that almost everyone had forgotten Naruto's existence. However, fortunately, no one came to disturb Naruto, so Naruto could rest assured and advance smoothly. That's right. That's promotion. In other words, Naruto has now successfully broken through to the Golden Core. Due to the previous depletion of mental energy, Naruto had to stop and recover. However, in the process of continuous recovery, I suddenly felt signs of advancement. This surprised him. You know, the Golden Core stage is a level that many people cannot reach in their lifetime. And Naruto started training at the age of 5, and it only took 7 years until now. If this kind of promotion speed were known to other cultivators, no one would believe it. Coupled with the experience and realm accumulated by Naruto in his previous life, he successfully broke through to the third level of the 9 transformations of Tianyu. This is what cultivators call the Golden Elixir stage. This may be the legendary, break and then build. So in Sasuke's eyes at this moment, what he saw was a huge golden light erupting from behind the two Cloud Ninjas. The dazzling light almost made him unable to open his eyes. It was like a miracle. Sudden. Plop. In just one breath, the bodies of the two Cloud Ninjas were penetrated by a white furry thing. They fell down without even a trace of resistance. Thanks for watching.